Take three. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am the anti-hero, and we're here. It's Friday, and it's time for another edition of Grade That Comic. I'm in my gym clothes because I just came out of the gym, and I decided since I was feeling pumped up and feeling good, I was going to review Bitter Root, the amazing Image comic from writers David F. Walker and Chuck Brown, with artwork, amazing artwork by Sanford Greene. The story focuses around the Sangrier family in 1920s New York. They are fighting the Genu. Now, the Genu are humans that are possessed of hate. So they turn into these giant demon monstrous creatures. And the bitter root mixture, it's kind of an elixir. It's an antidote to that hatred. And Ma Etta, who is the matriarch of the Sangrier family, is a master of mixing the bitter root. She is trying to get Blink, her granddaughter, just 1 second. So, so Ma Etta is the matriarch of the Sangrier family. And she's a master of mixing the bitter root that helps bring the Genu back to being human. And she's trying to instill in her granddaughter, great-granddaughter, Blink, to also mix the bitter root. However, Blink may be the toughest of the Sangrier family. And that's saying something, because my personal favorite character is Berg, mountain of a man with a vocabulary to rival Shakespeare. The opening scene, it's not the opening scene, but the opening scene with Berg and Cullen, two cousins. And Cullen is fighting a Genu. And Cullen's like an average size guy. He might even be smaller than an average size. But Berg is literally a mountain of a man. And Berg is just sitting off to the side, throwing out $50 words, about the condition that Cullen is currently in. And Cullen's getting trashed around, just trying to hit the, use the kind of like the steampunk gun with the injection to get the Genu back to being human, or at least sedate them long enough so that they can treat them. The story itself is a great metaphor for how we allow hatred to overtake our lives. Doesn't matter what race you are, because this book deals with that. Predominantly speaking in 1920s New York and down in Mississippi in the South, where they run back and forth in this storyline, it's predominantly whites who are turning into Genu and are possessed by hatred. But there are other characters. There are black characters who are sucked into the world of hate. And some of them, you might even say righteously so. They touch on Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Massacre. They touch on a lot of historical ramifications that have affected Black America specifically. And each trade paperback, which is, I think, is really amazing, in the back of it, doesn't just contain things like character sketches and alternate covers and things like that. Contains write-ups by doctorates and master's degrees and news clippings and theses by different individuals who are not just historians, but they are people who are looking to try to help change the world and change this dynamic that we're seeing. This is another one of those things where you could see a lot of people saying, oh, it's just political and it's doing it this way. I don't see it that way, because comic books have been political since even before Captain America punched Hitler on the cover of Captain America Comics #1. I believe comic books are one of the best and purest forms of storytelling. They combine visual and written so well that one cannot exist without the other. You have too much words, it's a novel. You have too much imagery, and it's a picture book. The balance is so delicate with creating a comic and creating characters and telling a dynamic story that Sanford Greene captures so much of the raw emotion and movement in this book, and the characterizations of Walker and Brown. I can't do it justice by describing it to you. You need to pick up Bitterroot. You owe it to yourself to pick up an Eisner Award winning book. Because let me tell you, if you try to pick up the single issues 5 and down, you're going to be paying a lot of money. Some of these books are reaching over $100 at this point. There is an amazing Akira homage cover in an industry that relies on homage covers to try to sell nostalgia. Bitterroot's not using comic book covers and homaging them. They're using movies and homaging them. And one of them, it was an eBay exclusive, is an Akira cover with Blink walking towards her motorcycle. She's decked out like Kaneda and the motorcycle, but it's all like steampunk-esque from the 1920s. It's super amazing. And if I had that much money to drop on a single copy of a comic book, I totally would. Homages, as I said. This is the only homage cover from Bitterroot that I have of Juice. They've done homages of New Jack City, Do the Right Thing, Purple Rain, and they all are amazing because Sanford Greene patterns the poster is obviously a big student of art and film, because I could see Bitterroot becoming a TV series, an animated TV series, an adult animated TV series that deals with real world issues in an exciting, adventurous way that's not typical to your comic book going into another media. One of the other amazing things that they did is they did a Juneteenth variant. Now, I'm really ashamed to say that until last year, 2020, I had no idea what Juneteenth was, what it was about. I could blame the Arizona public school systems because they didn't teach us anything about Juneteenth. Our civil rights section in our history books, not even a chapter. There could be a whole book that they could teach on civil rights. They don't do that. However, I could have looked that information up, and I chose not to for whatever reason. But I'm glad I understand what Juneteenth is now. And I hope just the word Juneteenth will get you to look it up online, because it's really, really amazing and heartbreaking at the same time. Bitterroot has to be one of my top 5 comic books of all time, and top 3 on the rack right now. I mean, I'm reading mostly independent comics, and I now have Bitterroot single issues on pull. So from here on out, I'll be reading it as it comes out, but I'll also be picking up the trade paperbacks because I like it that much. So my grade for Bitterroot, if you couldn't tell, I enjoy this series a whole lot, is a, what is that? Near mint plus, mint minus, 9.8. I hope you like the content. Like I said, hit like, subscribe if you want to continue seeing me put out more Grade That Comic. And as I'm going to end all my videos, keep reading comics, hit me up in the comments.